Welcome to Disneyland. Right now I'm in Disneyland in Anaheim, California. It's a beautiful day, and how many of you like Disneyland? I have the statue and the famous castle of Disneyland behind me. So comment below if you are a big fan of Disneyland like I am. It's been years since I've been here, but it's great to be here. So today, what I want to talk about is insights that you can gain from Disneyland about your career journey. So I'm going to be walking around the site and giving you insights on your career journey that we can learn right here from Disneyland. Come, let's go. I am standing in the middle of the Indiana Jones exhibit in Disneyland. Comment below, are you a fan of Indiana Jones and are you familiar with his story? So Indiana Jones, in every adventure, he has an adventure where his mission is to uncover some lost or hidden treasure. And along the way, as you know, he always runs into these conflicts with other people. He meets these people and he always has this life and death adventures, but all along he has his eye on the mission, his eye on the goal, and he always succeeds, right? So what can we learn from his adventures, right? How can we be inspired along your career journey? Is the same thing. Your career journey is your adventure. So don't be afraid to take risks, because along the way you will undoubtedly encounter challenges. You will have problems along the way, obstacles along the way, but keep your eye on that goal. Believe in your mission, and along the way you might also uncover undiscovered treasures that will turn out to be something inspiring to you, that will be pleasant surprises. And when you keep your eye on the goal, every action you take on your journey is towards your mission. And in the end of it, you accomplish your journey, and it will feel just like uncovering your treasure. So that's what we can take. We can be inspired from Indiana Jones and his adventures, and the adventurous side of him as he goes on each undiscovered mission. And now we are in Tomorrowland. This part of Disneyland is home of Buzz Lightyears. We also have Star Tours as well. And we also have Hyper Blast into space. So this whole area in Disneyland is about space. So what can we learn in this area in Tomorrowland about our career journey? And so this is about the future, Tomorrowland. What is the future bringing? And if you look at the progress in our society, the tomorrow is really here. I mean, these cartoons were invented, and there was fantasy about sending people into space, sending people to Mars, colonizing these planets outside of our Earth, right? But if you think about it, it is happening. I mean, we have Elon Musk building SpaceX, and he has a mission of bringing people into Mars. He has a mission to colonize Mars, and there have been already successful rocket launches, successful, building of all this technology from Elon Musk. So tomorrow is here. So what can we learn about that in our career journey? And what we can learn about that is the concept of future-proofing. How can you future-proof your career? How can you make sure that your job, your career is not going to be replaced by technology, AI, not advanced technologies? How can you make sure that you are going to stay relevant in the industry marketplace? So this is what you want to focus on. I mean, there are plenty of jobs out there that will be replaced by AI and advanced technologies. But if your career, if your job function, if your skill set is unique enough, if it requires a high level of human-to-human interaction, emotional intelligence, it is far less likely to be replaced by AI and advanced technologies. So look for ways that you can be recession-proof, that you can future-proof your career and stay relevant in your career industry marketplace. I'm standing outside Alice in Wonderland. I mean, how many of you are familiar with Alice in Wonderland, the story? I mean, she is a curious little girl. She sees this white rabbit who seems like so much in a hurry, and she resists her curiosity. She resists her urges not to follow that white rabbit, and she goes and follows the white rabbit. And as she's following this rabbit, she knows that there's a big chance that her mother's going to be angry at her for getting her clothes all dirty and following the white rabbit. But yet she goes anyway because she is curious. So what can we learn from that inspiring story? And she follows that right rabbit right into Wonderland. So your career journey is the same way. There will be people who you might want to follow who have quite the successes that you want, or they may be people who seem inspiring to you, who have the knowledge and the wisdom that you seek to acquire, and you have curiosity of how did they do that? How do they have those successes that you want in your career? And so a lot of times as we grow up as children, we have that curiosity, but when we are adults, we tend to lose that curiosity. So I'm trying to impress upon you to be inspired by Alice, our girl Alice in Wonderland, and reserve that curiosity that you had, that sense of wonderment, and allow that curiosity to guide you, to ask questions to people who have the success that you want, to ask questions and not be afraid of sounding too overly curious. I mean, that was one thing that Alice was good at, was not being too worried about sounding overly curious. So let that curiosity guide you, because chances are, if you are feeling curious about something, it is something inside of you urging you to find out more. And what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong if you find out a little bit more to ask questions? The worst thing that could happen is you find out something that doesn't help you. Then you can ask the next question. So don't lose that curiosity you had when you were a little girl or a little boy. I'm now standing in It's a Small World, one of the most well-known melodies in the world. It's a Small World. And what can we learn from this, right? I mean, how many of you have heard of that saying, 6 degrees of separation? It is true. I mean, it is a small world. So what can we learn from that? When you're in your career journey, I mean, you have to have a network. You have to have a network of people who are able to introduce you to other people, who are able to introduce you to key people who have a real influence on your professional future. And when you are building these relationships with the right individuals, it's important that you treat them with respect, especially if they are high level enough that they might have gatekeepers. Treat them and their gatekeepers with respect, because you never know. You could be a handshake away from the most important person you will ever need to meet. And if you don't give the first impression, make the good first impression, you don't get a second chance. So it is a small world, and whoever you do encounter along the way, even though it may seem like they might not be able to help you per se at that moment, remember to treat people with respect. Now we are in Toontown, one of the most fun, the most colorful, larger-than-life areas of Disneyland. And this is one of my favorite areas because everyone is just so happy here. I mean, we have permissions, like giving us permission to think back to our childhoods when we didn't have as much responsibility. And this is where we give ourselves permission to be silly, to have some fun, and to not take ourselves too seriously. So what can we learn about Toontown, right? I mean, Toontown is, it's fiction. It's larger than life. It is characters that are obviously fictional, right? But what we can take from this is that it's important to have a sense of humor. I mean, of course, your career journey is something you do take seriously. There are moments where you have to do some serious thinking, to schedule some time to ask important questions to yourself to get to that higher level of self-awareness. But at the same time, it's important to have a sense of humor, especially when you are trying to connect with the right people. Because nothing goes farther than having a sense of humor to build rapport and to connect with another person. And oftentimes when you're trying to break the ice, when you meet someone for the first time, regardless of how much of an authority they have in your future, in your professional future, a sense of humor goes a long way when it comes to showing the human side of you, when it comes to showing the balance you have between your profession and your personal life. I hope you enjoyed my fun video. If you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up, and also remember to subscribe to my channel, ring that bell as well, so you receive notifications each time I upload a new video every single week. And thank you for joining me in Disneyland in Anaheim, California, and I look forward to hanging out with you in my next video.
Hey, what are you doing looking in my mailbox? I don't look in yours.
Mickey's here. Big doings today in Mickey's Toontown.
count.
So cute.
It's in the mail. Yep.
For me, a boy.
My mail's not bad. It's just written that